Hello, Steve White, Steve White 89. I'm here with another Superman figure because he needed more attention than he got from the unboxing. But yeah, I want to talk about the whole situation with Dean Cain speaking out against the new James Gunn Superman film. Now, before I do that, feel free to share, like, ding the bell, maybe look at my channel for actual other videos for the same subjects because you're not going to see them on your feed because YouTube doesn't support small channels like me. Now, so far as Dean Cain, I met him a few years ago in Australia. He was wonderful in person. He was very sweet, very affectionate. I was totally open about the fact that I had a crush on him when I was a teenager and I thought he was hot as Superman and everything. He was really nice. And then he turned out to be MAGA. I don't know what happened to him. It doesn't make any sense. But he's been speaking out against anything progressive in Superman, like one of Superman's kids turning out to be bisexual, and all the drama about that. He was sort of on TV carrying on about that, and it was all sort of sad to see him sort of soiling the Superman legacy by being bigoted and homophobic and so forth. And I don't know, it didn't seem like who he was as a person, but he's the hill he's dying on. And of course, James Gunn asked for this when he came out and stated that Superman was political and stated that they were telling the immigrant story through Superman, basically. And this is something that's gone over the heads of conservative Superman fans for generations, that Superman is an immigrant. He is the ultimate immigrant. And in this film, we see him treated the same way that some people are treated in America who are immigrants. We have Lex having a off-planet detention center, just like America has, out-of-country detention centers where they can send people so they don't have to deal with laws, so they can do whatever they want with them, and people just get disappeared when they should be kept in America and processed, and have due process. They don't have that. So there's a bunch of laws, a bunch of lawsuits against the Trump government for the things ICE is doing and so forth. ICE, they just gave like $130 billion or something. They're now turning into an army. It's just so many levels of disturbing, and there are parallels to that in this James Gunn film. Even though he wrote this film before some of these more recent events, they just obviously these patterns of fascism, they're fairly predictable. So you can tell a story like this, and then when someone like Trump tries to enact fascist things like this, they basically mirror the stories people are telling, even if they're written before, because they all follow the same patterns and plans, and it's kind of disturbing. But so Dean Cain's been speaking out, basically saying that they're making Superman too woke, and acknowledging that he always was an immigrant, and there always was some sort of analogy there or some sort of something there. But he's acting like, well, now it's different, and I think it's only different because James Gunn has brought to the attention of people who didn't realise it was just going over their head. And that was the good thing about science fiction and fantasy. Sometimes you can tell a story like this and tell it through allegory or through an alien or some character that you like and have affection for, and then you relate to them and you get the story when you wouldn't get it if they actually put it in normal, everyday, contemporary political terms. If you had just, a regular American immigrant who's lived in America their whole life, never broken a law, paid tax, never got the benefit of it because they can't get benefits because they're not a citizen, and then having them taken away under the guise of taking away criminals that are threatening people, and really it's a good solid American who's lived in America for decades, and they're being taken away. If you told that story, they'd find a way to say, oh no, they got into the country illegally, whatever, so somehow they're wrong, and somehow they're like the caricature of the criminal immigrant that we were sold by Trump, that they were all coming to get us and he was going to save us from all of them. Somehow they'd find a way to make that person, they'd find a way to other that person. But if you tell it through an alien or an allegory, or make it Superman or a character they like, they're more likely to get the point. And that's something Star Trek always did well, and a lot of sci-fi and superhero titles have done well. But once you start stating it, the less intelligent people start to realise that they're actually being educated, or so it wasn't good for James Gunn to come right out and say this is an immigrant story and that's what we're telling, and that has alienated a lot of maggots who now won't watch Superman because it's like probably, you know what I mean. So he opened himself up for this when he made that announcement, because now all the people are coming out of the woodwork and attacking Superman for something that they were never aware of or didn't care about, but now it's an issue. So, but yeah, Cain is leading that charge, and it's very disappointing and very sad. But I just like to remembering how he was before and how he was when I met him, before he got, is it red pilled? Which is, I think red pill's the bad one. Yeah, red pill is when you turn into a maggot. Blue pill is when you turn into a intelligent, sophisticated citizen. But yeah, I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the whole James Gunn making, because he did make the film political once he announced that it is, and pointed out to people that that political allegory has always been there, or that even not even political, that just allegory is there. Superman was written by two Jewish boys, and yeah, go explore all that. It's interesting.